Welcome everybody to Anime Lounge Podcast, Episode 2. Today we are going to talk about Deadman Wonderland. It's a one-season short anime, and Ricky, what is your drink of choice for today?
My drink of choice is Dewar's Blended Scotch Whiskey, 15-year, known as the Monarch, and I'm chasing it down with a Busch Light. What about you, Lance?
Today I'm drinking some Brickyard Straight Bourbon Whiskey, and I too have some Busch Light. What about you, Matt?
I'm also drinking the Dewar's Scotch Whiskey, and I have a Busch Light, because that was the drink of choice apparently for everybody. So Lance, why don't you break down this anime in case anybody forgot?
Right, so Deadman Wonderland came out, you said 2011?
Yep.
So it's been around for a good solid 10 years. We should all know it by now. But just to get everybody back up to speed, this story is about a young boy named Ganta Igarashi. Him and his class were going to go on a field trip to this prison when suddenly a man in red blows up his classroom, and Ganta is the one who gets framed for putting everyone to death, and he gets put in this prison that they were going to go visit. Now, he's in this prison, and we find out that he's got some special blood powers, and it turns out a bunch of other people in the secret section of the prison also have blood powers. The show is supposed to be about an entertainment kind of deal where all of their fights that everyone's put against is broadcasted, and that's really the idea of the prison. But of course the inmates want nothing to do with that anymore, so they end up trying to break out and fuck everything up, and we get to watch it all unfold. So Matt, or some favorite things that you liked about this?
One of the things that I really liked was just the blood powers, especially in 2011. I hadn't seen too many episodes where people had blood powers, per se.
Yeah,
I agree.
And just the variety of characters that they had. Ricky, what about you?
honestly, I really liked the dialogue. It was real. It's just what people were talking about. You know what I mean? The saying, we're gonna throw some cuss bombs today. The fuck you, right away.
Super vulgar.
It's super vulgar.
Mm-hmm.
Right away, what were they saying? Just everything and anything, just throwing it out there. I love the dialogue. It just made it more relatable, more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like the characters. I really got into this anime for some reason. I really like the characters, and I like the storyline. I wish, it would have been more than one season. So.
Oh, for sure.
What'd you like, Lance?
I liked how relatable Ganta was, how big of a crybaby was. No, I'm totally kidding. Big freaking crybaby. I gotta say, the number one thing I liked the most about this was the Ganta gun that Senji named for his special power, It just reminded me so much of, Yusuke's spirit gun, so obviously being too addicted to that show brought me closer to Ganta with that. I also liked him just slowly getting better and better. I always liked that too. Maybe not necessarily the slowly part, but just seeing someone grow. That's why we like our action anime.
Yeah, definitely. There was some good build-ups that they had in that. Ricky, what would you say one of your favorite characters were?
Honestly, Senji. Senji was a badass. And I'm starting to pick up kind of a pattern with the animes that I've been watching. That you always have like this villain or not your friend right away. Mm-hmm. And then they turn into your friend. The ones that come to mind like Vegeta and Dragon Ball Z. Obviously Senji in this one. I would say, the last episode with Demon Slayer, I would say Inosuke was kind of like that, but it wasn't really a villain. It's just they weren't really friends right away.
Yeah, they wanted to be rivals, especially with him trying to always be better than Danjiro. So It's a good push just to have that rivalry.
Yeah, so Senji was definitely my favorite in this one.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Lance?
Yeah, Senji. I do want to copy you with Senji. He was total badass, but at the same time, I want to throw out a little bit of a different opinion, and that brings me to, let's say, Minatsuki, that crazy bitch, the sister of Yo.
I thought it was Minatsuki.
I'm pretty sure it's Minatsuki.
Yeah, I have that in my notes.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I was actually just rewatching that fight at work today, and just the shit she says, just the sexual. Oh, you make me so wet. If you just ran away with me, you would have no idea, and stuff like that. And like, damn, this is going pretty far. I was completely amazed. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
And actually, the crazy part about that, I don't know if Netflix or Funimation, because I watched it on both those at different points. Watching that fight scene on YouTube today. They showed her boob. I don't remember nudity in the Funimation version or anything like that.
Yeah, I just watched it. I just caught up with this like the last couple days, so I don't remember that.
It's probably an uncut, like a DVD.
That's very
scene.
possible. Yeah, I don't know what Funimation offers in that sense, but I mean, of course, it's animated, so they're going to throw a lot of sexual stuff out there, especially fucking Minatsuki. Threw me through a loop when I saw it on YouTube, of all places.
I don't know. I definitely agree with what you're saying. That, like I said, the dialogue is vulgar and it's very realistic.
And I think she had a real good fucked up kind of story for why she is the way she is, especially with like straight to the point, killed her dad because I think he was abusive sexually to her, because that's where I saw the boob scene, was when she killed her dad. He was probably touching her and whatnot. And her mother, when the green room collapsed.
Man, I gotta say, that was the most fucked up scene.
Right.
In this whole anime, to me, I guess. The mom picks up, the green room collapsed, and a shelving collapsed on
top of Minatsuki. Mom comes in, saves a plant.
Preemie roses.
Yeah, something like that.
That bitch saved the preemie roses, she says. Something like that.
It made you totally side with her for a little bit there. Like, you know what, your fucked upness is a little bit justified. So she's cool.
She's something. That's for sure.
What would be your favorite character, Matt?
I'd probably have to say Shiro, just because her development throughout is kind of interesting. Like, you really don't know what's going on with her. She's just kind of there, and then not there. Then she's always helping Ganta.
Yeah. Yeah, she really interests me too. Like, it's only season 1. It's only one season, but her backstory, I wish they would have went more into detail about it. Mm-hmm. And just who she is as a person, basically. Because if you watch this whole season, you're gonna find a lot of gaps, lots of gaps.
Yeah, and especially because the beginning of the season makes Shiro knows exactly who Ganta is for whatever reason that us viewers have no idea, and we don't start to see Ganta picking up fragments of memories until closer to the end of the season.
And I think throughout the season, they only really explain why he lost his memories.
They don't. I don't think in the anime they explain why he lost his memories.
No,
I think that was a manga thing.
That wasn't a manga thing.
Oh, we definitely have a lot of questions for you, Matt.
Oh yeah. It was nice to see that Ganta was picking up some kind of memories back in their childhood days. Like, what was the superhero alter ego? Ace Man?
Ace Man, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was nice to see a side character that was more important than the main character.
Good point. I like that. Because, yeah, Shiro, she's so important. And through what little research I've done, that I'm not going to ruin too much of what we're going to share later, but Shiro really does become the most important character of this entire show.
Yeah, especially in the beginning in the anime, because she helps push him through all the extra stuff when they do that
the obstacle course?
Yeah, the obstacle course.
Yeah.
She's the only reason why he didn't die to begin with.
Exactly. Yeah, the very first obstacle course when they were holding on to that ball, so that the last one to hold on to the ball wins, but everyone else dies, and because they worked together, they were both able to survive, and none of them claimed any of their the money, or what do they call it?
Cast points.
Cast points.
Cast points, yeah.
Cast points is their currency.
And the whole eating candy thing, that's super fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, knowing that you have to have 100,000 cast points in order to not die in 3 days. Like, that's...
Is that how much a candy costs?
Mm-hmm. I didn't even translate that.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that either.
Yeah, that might be a manga thing that they talk about. That
might be it, because I think in the anime they strictly just said just eat a piece of candy and you're good for 3 days. I don't think they told you that how much a piece of candy costs.
Which is even more fucked up, because that obstacle course only gave you 100,000 cast points, so he only got one piece of candy, or he would have only gotten one piece of candy after he had already lost his piece of candy.
Right, yeah. I got that in my notes right there.
You know, this whole season, because they say it at the end of it was over a time span of 11 days.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was not even a...
Well, from the time he was in prison, I believe.
Yeah.
Or I think so. I know for a fact that she said 11 days, the warden did.
From when he first stepped foot in, or as soon as he started playing
I believe when
the Deadman Wonderland?
Now that I'm thinking about it, it might be from when they went to, like, G Block.
Uh-huh.
Because she referenced something about their time being there for the last 11 days.
Mm.
And then, obviously, the manga kind of ends after that, but they don't really talk about it after or before it.
Yeah, I know when he's training with Shinji, that's the first time he's needed, or the second time he's needed candy. So that's 6 days. That's like the biggest reference point as far as how long he's been there.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. Actually, I realized that too because I was keeping track. I even had it in my notes. I'm like, I think episode 3 is the only time they mentioned candy because it's my first time watching it. So as I was going, I was taking notes. And then episode 3 was the first time they mentioned candy, and I think that's when his cellmate brings his candy back. Yo, yeah.
Yep.
And then,
So that's the first 3 days.
and then I remember Senji pulled out like 5 or 6 candies out of his pocket, and then when they were training, he had that one last candy he had to shoot down, and that was episode 6, I think, wasn't it?
To shoot down?
Yeah, where he's training with him.
Yeah, where they were
The
training
supersonic deal? That was already...
Yeah.
That was a...
No,
episode
I think that's a
6.
little bit later.
I know that was getting a little bit closer to the end because that
Okay.
supersonic
Yeah,
Ganta
you're
gun
right.
deal was what took out the guards and
the Uber monk.
what's Genkaku's Ubermonk. There it is. Yeah. Well, we can just talk about their supersonic attacks. Those are a very cool idea to make their weapons go at supersonic speeds. Like Senji's little arm scythe to expand at those such speeds. That was
Yeah.
like just the introduction of that is just going faster than sound. Definitely cool.
Yeah, it's a good difference and a good way to help make the characters be able to fight the
Undertakers.
Undertakers.
There it
Yeah.
Yeah. They're badass.
Yep.
Oh, definitely.
And that Uber monk is super fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, that little girl is super fucked up. Like she's probably worse than the Uber monk.
Their backstories are fucked up.
Yeah.
For real.
I like that they go into their backstories, like
I love
to
it.
help justify how fucked up they are.
Yeah. Like I said before, that's why I love prequels. I love hearing the backstory.
Exactly.
Especially with this anime, it came out with an OVA of Senji.
So I've sent you yet.
Like
Was it episode 13?
35 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah, it was just it was just a little episode of that.
But showed his backstory of when he was a cop.
Oh, with this brought up, that made me question, since the OVA came out after the series, that made me assume that after they escaped the prison, that's what Senji was doing after the prison.
No, that was before.
But it makes more sense that this was happening beforehand.
Well, they reference it in the movie, and right away they say like 2 years after the Red Hole.
Oh, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that earthquake deal. Yeah, this was like 10 years after the earthquake is where...
Deadman Wonderland?
Yeah, where the prison is overlapping where the earthquake took place.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, it was definitely a free story. He's a cop. Yeah, I was hoping for a couple more OVAs just to get some more story because you just want that season 2 so bad. You're just looking for like anything. You just need that extra hit.
Now that you brought that up, has anybody mentioned why it got canceled? Does anybody know why it got canceled?
I got a little bit of research.
I did a little bit, but not much.
From what I figured, back in 2015, the company that made Deadman Wonderland went bankrupt, so they had to quit. They had to stop everything. And one other source said that they were also straying away from the manga. They weren't keeping everything in line with everything well enough.
That's what I read. I don't think the bankruptcy would have affected it that much because 4 years after. I think
it's 4 years later. That's a lot of time.
Yeah. So I think I read the same reason that you just said about people or about the anime, steering off from the manga, and people were also complaining that there was a lot of gaps, like we mentioned before. There was a lot of gaps.
Yeah. But I mean, if you don't know the manga and you're just watching the anime, season 2 can fill in those gaps no problem.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. That's a very good point.
So they just fell short on that. It'd be nice to hear from them specifically of a little bit more reasons why.
If we can go back to Senji, I actually forgot to ask this. What's up with him and saying dead center all the time?
Dead center?
Dead center. That's like his catchphrase.
Oh, I don't know.
Have you not noticed that?
Yeah, because every time Ganta shoots him, he always says dead center because he's hitting him
when
dead
he
center.
when he took him out.
Well, every time that, but then he also says it for like different instances.
I mean, it might be a reference in shooting, maybe, because you want to aim center mass.
Yeah, maybe back to his cop days.
Maybe that's obviously just a guess because they actually don't go into that at all. But that could be one reason, or he's just sadistic and likes cutting everything in like right where your heart is, so dead center.
It can always be like Marvel's Bullseye, at least in the movie from like 2000, where he's like Bullseye. That was just his catchphrase. So yeah, I'd be cool if it was just his catchphrase.
Yeah, it could be. What do you think, Ricky? You like that, or you thinking it's something else?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I caught it in the OVA. I don't think he's mentioned it. I just found it. He said it so many times throughout the anime. Well, throughout season 1.
No.
So I don't know if you guys picked up on something.
No.
Or if you have any other insight with your manga over there, Matt.
No, they don't go into it.
Okay.
Alright, so here's a simple little question. Who do you guys think is the strongest in terms of all of Deadman Wonderland?
You go first, Matt. Without using any manga references.
Oh yeah, just the anime season 1 that we can take from.
I would probably have to say either Genkaku, who was that monk, just because he could basically nullify all of the attacks from the Deadman.
Well, all the Undertakers could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They have those
all
weapons.
their weapons.
yeah. But he just seemed like the strongest of them. Or
Yeah, because that other chick, Daida, with the she had that Bleach sword. Who's the guy from Bleach that making his sword break
Renji.
off? Renji?
Yeah.
Man, it's been so long since I've seen Bleach. But yeah, she had the same abilities to nullify
Yeah.
branches then.
Or probably Senji, just because of his attacks seem to be super strong.
Yeah.
What about you, Ricky?
Before Senji said anything, because you know when Senji's training Ganta in that in the gym, basically, that kid Toto comes in. So before he even came in, though,
Mockingbird.
Mockingbird, yeah.
I want to see his full power. I feel like he's obviously the strongest.
Oh, especially because they did reference that he was the strongest in all of Deadman Wonderland.
Yep.
And in one specific episode, I don't remember what it was, so I'm not even going to say specific, but in one scene, we see Toto using Senji's arm scythe to attack some guards. I don't know if you guys picked up on that.
Yep. And I think he got that power. He can get that power by licking their blood. Because he licked Senji's. He licked Senji's blood.
Well, he did that. Oh, yeah, because we don't know if they fought in the past or not.
No.
I just assume that if Toto looks at you, if Mockingbird just looks or sees that he can reference a Mockingbird, he just mocks their abilities, obviously.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess I didn't put two and two together. I think licking blood is a definitely cooler way to...
I just have that theory because he references something about Ganta's. Like he thinks Ganta's blood tastes delicious or something like that. Like when he sees Ganta hit his Ganta gun.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but yeah, I think his powers come from either tasting or getting hit with their blood somehow.
I can see that. And quite honestly, I would prefer that.
Yeah. So yeah, Toto, I would love to see his full power. Otherwise, Senji's the straight badass. Obviously, you guys know I like him. Or what is that? What is his name?
Well, I think I know what you're about to say, and then let me throw that in for myself. And this Nagi.
Yes, there you go.
Nagi, the guy with the broken voice, with his blood explosion deal. I mean, we saw that at the end of season 1. That is clearly explosive power. He was definitely very powerful. But despite saying how powerful his blood explosion deal is, oh, by the way, after rewatching Deadman Wonderland and Demon Slayer so close to each other, Nagi and Nezuko just go hand in hand for me. Nezuko's got that blood demon art with exploding blood, and here's Nagi with his exploding blood.
Okay.
I mean, I know they're almost 10 years apart, but it was just a coincidence that we threw these together. If I was to choose an actual strongest fighter, minus Toto, because as anime watchers, we don't really know anything about him. Going back to Senji and Ganta with their supersonic attacks. I think that's just too hard to fight those.
Makes sense.
Especially since Ganta's gun was able to get past the nullification, right?
Yeah, because he could break the speed of sound.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a random question. Or were you all set?
No, I'm good.
All right. I just had a random question. You know, going back to Shiro, there was this one episode when Shiro, or a person that looks like Shiro, is talking with the old man director, and they're about to fight, and he's trying to give her like candy or something.
Yeah,
put in.
Yep.
Is that a twin, or is that
No,
Shiro?
that's her.
Yeah, that's her.
She says a different personality, kind of thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
she was talking normal. She wasn't doing like the little kid, horrible grammar.
Yeah, this kind of brings me into my the next topic I wanted to bring up was just let's strictly talk Shiro. So I've seen this anime twice, and the first time I watched this, I want to talk about the scene where, I don't know, it was like episode 6 or 7 or so, where Shiro is seen like killing this old man. And like I was saying, the first time watching this, I didn't think anything of it. So much is going on in this series, I can't keep track of everything. But the second time watching it, now I'm starting to pick up some things, and I see that now I'm questioning: did Shiro just kill the Red Man? Because at the end of the scene, she's wearing some of like the Red Man gear, and that made me question: was that old man the man in red? So did she just accidentally kill, or not accidentally? Did she purposely kill the guy in red? Does that have any?
That's kind of what I was thinking, and I actually thought that the old man was her father, just because the way they laid out the situation, laid out the storyline. I thought he was the Red Man. I honestly don't know. I only saw the season 1. I'm guessing in the manga, obviously more detailed is finished, but in my opinion, I'm pretty sure he was the Red Man. I feel like he's not for some reason.
Right, because before they fought, and it was a super quick fight. I'm pretty sure they didn't even show any fight scenes. It was just 1 minute they're doing a little bit of argument or whatever, and the next minute he's like dead on the ground, his head's twisted or something.
Well, I thought they were training, because he made it seem like, all right, let's do our daily training, like daily routine.
Yeah, I think I remember something like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then at the end of the scene, there Shiro is wearing some of the gear, and I just assumed she just took it off of him or something. Matt, you got anything to throw in there?
As far as Shiro is concerned, some things that happen is you find out that she has like a split personality. So she's actually the Red Man. Like, it's her to begin with.
It's crazy.
And
never would have expected that from the anime.
And that's one thing. They also call it the wretched egg.
Yep.
They make a bunch of references to that.
Did they explain why?
Closer to the end of the series, they were saying that.
They really don't explain why. This just kind of what they reference the Red Man as, and then obviously Ganta always references that as the Red Man because he's wearing the full face, and you never actually get to see who it is.
Right.
But yeah, you find out that it's Shiro, the whole time. To go a little bit into it, you do find out that the reason why Ganta loses his memory is that he comes upon Shiro basically killing all the scientists because they're doing experiments on her and trying to basically make her into what she becomes. And he runs away, and as he runs away, his mom says that he needs to go to his dad, and as he's getting into the car, he's like, what's going on? And he just kind of like blocks everything that happens. So that's why he doesn't remember Shiro, is because that he witnessed that horrific thing that she did.
Right, and just to jump in, the little research that I did, everything points to Ganta forgetting everything because of the shock he's gone through. And all of a sudden, poof, it's all gone.
Yep. And that's what happened, was that he watched his friend murder everybody.
Uh-huh.
Then another thing is that his mom was a scientist with the director, so that guy that you see the head of that's chopped off, that's actually the director. He's a scientist that was with Shiro to help basically create her. Like, he's the whole reason why she's the way she is because he noticed that she could do all these things, and he tortured her and made her do all these things to become the Red Man. And crazy thing about him is he can actually put his memories into other people, so he becomes Toto.
What?
Yeah.
The director?
Yeah. That guy is basically just a shell of a person when he gets his head chopped off.
Okay, so essentially Toto the Mockingbird is the director.
At that point, yes.
Like wherever his maturity was with his brain at the
his
transfer.
His brain is there, but he gets to keep all the abilities of the person that he takes over.
Interesting.
And he tries to take over Ganta because Ganta is the key to essentially stop the Red Man from becoming anything, because the Red Man is what created the earthquake.
Yep. And
his mom does this whole elaborate thing that is supposed to seal her powers, and he's the key to that. And so he tries to take over Ganta's body to awaken her powers.
He as in Toto?
Toto, yeah. The old director who is actually Hagari.
Okay.
So if you do the research and you look into the characters, you see Hagari as just some manga guy. So he's a scientist that essentially created the Red Man. And that's why he is in part of the character. So he becomes Toto, and after Toto wins the Carnival Court, and the prize is supposed to be that you're essentially set free, and what happens is that he takes over that guy's the winner's body, and that's what happens. Yeah, it's super fucked up, right?
Dude, that's so interesting. Why couldn't... Oh, man. That just pisses me off even more that they couldn't even make this into a second season. They have so much information and so much good detail to throw in. That's annoying.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because you get really invested in these characters. So, the manga's going off to some really cool storylines. I'm really disappointed that, you didn't get to see that in the anime.
So you don't find out about that until almost the very end. I think it's like chapter 50.
Damn, you read that much?
It's 58 chapters. And
I'm proud of you. That's a lot of reading.
And he said he did it in 2 days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, you find that out at the end, and that was a huge, what the fuck? God damn. And that's trying to, basically, it kind of fills everything, puts everything together, because that's how Deadman Wonderland is actually meant to house Shiro. And you find out that Ganta's supposed to be what Shiro became, and his mother can't go through with it, and that's what she swaps babies, essentially, because she gets treated on as a baby. So it's super fucked up.
Wait, what do you mean? I didn't follow that one.
So before he goes into further detail, we see in the anime that those two are together as children.
Yep.
So I think what he's going to go into is that they were potentially going to be worked on as experiments.
And Deadman Wonderland was essentially created to house Shiro, who was supposed to be Ganta. But Ganta his mom was the head scientist and for all this research, and she created the blood power. I'm drawing a blank. The
Branch of Sin?
The Branch of Sin. She created the Branch of Sin. And it was originally supposed to be Ganta that was testing on, but instead it was Shiro. Kind of crazy what happens at that point. It's all stuff you don't find out until the end. And she turns into the Red Man kind of as like a coping mechanism because of the injections and some of the testing that they're doing. They're like taking off chunks of her body to see how fast she can regenerate. So she creates this alternate personality to kind of get rid of the pain. And that's why if you notice in the anime, she talks about how she doesn't feel any pain. Well, that's part of it, is that the Red Man is taking all the pain, so she doesn't feel it. It's definitely one of those kind of feel-good things. So they have this huge battle with Ganta and Shiro, and they finally get to ride the Ferris wheel. So that's
a good thing, because they talked about that multiple times in the anime.
Yeah, and they're actually having a conversation, and come to find out that at this point, the Red Man and Shiro are no longer two personalities. They've kind of become one, and they have this huge fight, and she says that all she wants to do is die.
Shiro says that?
Yeah.
Wow.
While Ganta says he'll do that, and later in the fight, he says, "You don't actually want to die." And she says that all she wants is to be happy. And then they embrace, and then there's this huge explosion, and it goes into the future. And basically they show glimpses of all the main characters, which there's actually a few characters that you never meet. Do you meet the one guy? You meet the one guy that's eating everything.
Yep.
Oh yeah, early on. When we meet Minatsuki.
Yep, that's Kazuya. You meet him, basically he just becomes a Guinness Book of World Record eater. Like that's his life.
He becomes a fat.
Yep. Choplin is, in the manga, looks like a woman, but it's actually a dude. And then you meet Hatara, who's this old man that's kind of like the wisdom type of guy, but he hears his daughter saying stuff. And
you know what animal he was. You know, they name each of the branch of Saiyans animal. Because I think they mentioned an old man when Ganta meets that rebellion.
I didn't write it down, but it's the same old man that they're talking about. Choplin's the peacock. I don't know if they talk. I don't remember if they talk about him in the anime at all.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, and yeah, that's kind of how they go throughout the series. Machina, the guard, not the guard, but she's the
warden.
The warden, she's actually important to the story because she's the one that helps expose Deadman Wonderland.
Oh, okay. 'Cause, let's just jump back into a little bit of the anime. Machina was that badass bitch with the sword where she cut someone in like episode 1 or 2. And she's got that little girl beneath her. Well, her name's Kyoko. Who, but yeah, anyway, near the end of the anime, like they're seen trying to like spy on something. But yeah, Machina was like the warden.
Yep.
And she wanted to have her own kind of position of power.
Well, she's the warden. She should know what's going on in her prison. You know what I mean? That's all she was trying to do, just try to get information from the director's son.
Well, he's just the director. He's just some random guy. Tamaki. And he has no relation to the...
Oh, because he keeps on referencing to his father.
Yeah, that's true.
He keeps on saying this father that. So
that was the dude that Shiro killed, right?
No, that was the... You can kind of think of him like the game master. So he's the one that's in charge of Subblock D. Really, that's the actual part of Deadman Wonderland.
Okay, then who was Tamaki's father? And for our listeners, Tamaki was like the lawyer that was on Ganta's side that faked everything. So just to put a quick reference in.
Yeah, they don't really go into any... Tamaki is just basically the manipulator for everything. Mm-hmm. And that's really as far as they go. I mean, they talk about kind of who he is. They go into a little bit of his backstory, but it's just he enjoys doing gaming type stuff. He enjoys controlling everything. Like he's
his father was basically nothing.
Yeah, his father... It's... The old guy that we see is the Hagure, just one of Hagure's bodies, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's taken over so many bodies.
Yeah.
Super cool. I love that idea. Especially behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
I just want to put this out there. Now that the AC's off, our listeners will be hearing some dogs in the background. Our little mascots are on.
And then one thing that's kind of interesting is that the Tamaki is doing research and trying to create Deadman. And they're one person that's kind of important that you never meet. Her name is Azumi. She actually is the person that helps Ganta to begin with. So that's one thing that changed from the anime or from the manga into the anime is that you never meet her.
Helps Ganta when he's in Deadman Wonderland or
no,
as a child?
When he first gets to the prison, she's helping him out and she's kind of trying to like show him the ropes, and she's just being nice to him when he first gets there.
Oh, so she's not even a character in the anime then?
No, she's not a character at all.
Interesting.
And she turns into one of the pseudo Deadmen.
Oh, the Undertaker?
No, not Undertaker. Oh. Undertaker are just people that have weapons that they call worm eaters.
Yep.
Worm eaters, and they're just powerful people that are super fucked up because they talk about how those two guys, the one guy is dumped in the woods.
Oh, the two guys that Senji killed.
Yep.
And that's another thing, going back to the backstories, those were fucked.
Uh-huh.
Those are some fucked up backstories.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, poor Uber Monk. Oh, were we talking about?
No, we're talking about the two guys that Senji killed.
Yeah, like instantly just decapitated them.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
When he first learned that he has to use the supersonic move.
Yeah.
Oh, Senji.
Yeah, those two guys, the big guy, almost like a gorilla, and then the other guy that kind of like flies around or moves around like a spider sort of thing. He's not, but he has like the way I seen him. He kind of he comes down from the ceiling and yeah.
Yeah.
They both have fucked up backstories.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like she becomes. So the Undertaker are different than the pseudo Deadman. Tamaki creates a bunch of them. Basically, creates an army of them, and all the Deadmen are forced to fight all of these guys that he's manipulating using masks and controlling these people.
He's controlling all the Undertakers?
No, not the Undertakers. The pseudo Deadmen.
Oh.
The Undertakers are basically...
Okay, so pseudo Deadmen are different from the Undertakers.
Yeah, the pseudo Deadmen are what Tamaki created Deadmen.
Right. Okay.
Do we see any pseudo Deadman in the anime?
No.
Not in the anime.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what threw me off for a second.
And after that, so they fight, and so she becomes one of the pseudo Deadmen, and in the manga, he's going to try and protect her.
Shiro becomes a pseudo Deadman?
No, not Shiro. Azami.
Oh, the helper.
Yeah, the girl from the very beginning.
Right.
And so it's just some other things that they changed was one of the ways they were getting, one of the distractions is when everybody tries to break out. When they try to break out, one of the reasons their opening was that they were doing a government inspection. So everybody there were going to be no fights. Basically, they're going to try and seem like a normal prison. So they weren't doing anything crazy. And Tamaki was busy basically hosting all the government inspectors. Mm-hmm. And somehow, they don't really go into it, but they had an in with one of the inspectors. So was going to be the distraction. So when they escaped, that's what was going on.
Now that you bring that up, going back to the anime, I think this is why people were like kind of pissed off that there was a lot of gaps. They do mention that there's a government inspection, but you really don't see like anybody. Like if you see an inspection, people walking around, they were focused on the people who are inspecting the building, and you really don't see any scenes of any type of government people walking around or looking at the prison. All you really see is like everybody else fighting, and it's ignored.
In defense to that, what was it? The G Ward, what it was called, I don't know. Ganta. Well, first of all, Shiro is the one that showed the way for Ganta to get into the G Ward.
Oh, you're talking about G Block.
The G Block, yeah. So they had a super secret way to get into it to begin with.
So that's actually kind of something else that's different. So in the manga, that robot, it blows a hole in the wall, and then that
one that shot like acid.
Yeah.
So
okay. Blows a hole into the wall, and then they basically fall into the area.
Karako was trying to,
and that's where you first meet. I want to call him Shinji, but that's Senji, and it's kind of that's kind of similar, but just the whole how they find that area isn't how it happens in the anime.
Yeah, you're talking about the crowd control bot from the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there was two times a robot came into play. I thought you were talking about the acid shooting one where Karako was trying to make everyone escape.
Yeah,
on the bridge.
Yeah, on the bridge.
Does she die?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Somehow she freaking makes it. I don't remember how
she's on the bridge and she gets splat with that acid a little bit, and then everybody gets off the bridge because she was holding it up a little bit.
Right, and that's where the episode ends.
No, well, yeah, that episode. And then the next episode starts off with that same scene. But then she has this, the blood arc.
Like her branch of sin allows her to get like some defense, like an armor shell. Yeah. That's her power.
So you start off with the episode ending basically what the last episode ended with, and then you see her with her branch of sin. She uses it and covers her backside when he spits again.
Right, so that makes us viewers see that she's got a fighting chance.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so she ends up defeating the robot. I think you see it, but then later on she pops up and everybody knows she's alive and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She helps with the escape plan.
Yeah, that's one of the things that happens is I don't remember in the anime, Ganta is the one that blows the hole into the prison, right? Yeah. And so Naji died at that point. I don't know if you guys really realized that.
Oh, he did. Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Nagi died.
He got shot through the stomach by the Undertaker, the Uber monk.
Yeah.
What's his name? Genkaku?
Genkaku. Yeah.
Genkaku. He gets shot, but then Ganta soups up his powers basically, and he kind of looks like a piccolo.
God, yeah, on the verge of death because he spent like an episode and a half of him dying because his necklace deal his chain because he hasn't had any candy.
Yeah.
So he's getting all that poison throughout his body.
Well, not even that. He was right before this battle with the Uber monk. He was training with Senji. So he was using up blood.
Senji fucked him up. Oh yeah. Plus he was already blood deficient to begin with.
Exactly.
So he's blood deficient. He's running short on his 3-day candy, and now he gets this sudden surge of instant power, which I've done a little bit of research. I don't know if you want to dive into this. That red crystal deal that's in Ganta's chest was given to him by the Red Man that we now know as Shiro.
Yep.
And from what I think I understand is that's giving him power, even though that specific red crystal was implanted in Shiro by Ganta's mother to suppress her powers.
Not quite. So they call it the nameless worm is what they call it. And basically that is what gives all the Deadmen their power. So they all have some sort of form of this crystal in their blood, and that's what gives them the power.
Okay, so every fighter that has blood abilities has a piece of this crystal within them?
To an extent, yes.
Do they explain any of this? Do we know that? Okay, well, with this being said, with the OVA and Senji and his cop episode, he's got his branch of sin in that. And from what we can tell, that this is before Deadman Wonderland has begun.
Yep. So
he's got these blood powers before Deadman Wonderland begins. Do we know how people get their abilities?
Mm-mm. No, basically all they go into is that Shiro tries to kill herself because Ganta's mom explains that if she basically uses too much power, she's going to die. And so she just goes full power, and that's what creates the earthquake, and she attempts to kill herself at that point. And they really don't go into it, I'm assuming, because of the amount of power she used. She basically lost some of her power. I'm not 100% sure. They just don't go into that at all.
I mean, that sounds like they could even do a whole nother series about that kind of stuff.
No.
So, Matt, what do you think about the manga and the anime? How would you rate them?
The manga, Lance and I were talking about it earlier. The manga was fine. Like, I didn't find it bad. There was no real qualms about it. The nice parts were, as you were talking about earlier, Ricky, how they go into the backstories. The backstories were great, but I mean, it flowed through fairly quickly. It just was kind of meh. The fight scenes weren't bad, but it just wasn't my favorite. I definitely didn't have a problem reading it. Like I said, or like you guys were saying, I read it in 2 days, so it's not like it was terrible or anything. It was just, it was fine. And then I completely get how a lot of people are complaining that the anime was starting to veer too far off from what the manga was saying. There was some details that were left out that definitely played a big part, like the Machina. She plays a huge part in the manga, and she's just kind of, you find out she's the woman with the size G boobs, and that's like all you know about her.
Yeah, and she cut Yo in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's pretty much her staple.
Yeah. Like I think you were saying before, Lance, off air, that if you cut her out, there's really no change to the story. All she's really trying to do is figure out what's going on in her prison, which she has every right to if she's a fucking warden.
Right.
So
yeah, her technical position is super important, but as far as the anime is concerned, if you take Machina and just erase her from the anime, the story doesn't change at all.
Exactly.
So yeah, she's a useless character in the anime.
Yeah, and in the manga, she's super important. She helps basically let the world know what's going on in Deadman Wonderland. Mm-hmm. She actually turns into a criminal by killing people, the pseudo Deadman, while in the manga, because she's so interested in trying to figure out what's going on with her prison.
Right.
So I just kind of just want to jump in here real quick. We mentioned before, and especially in the last episode, episode 1, we did Demon Slayer. We mentioned before that we do have video playing in the background, just for some quick references. I believe I am on the Crow Claw episode. I'm not sure which episode that is, but that doctor popped up again. When they do the loser show.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised we didn't even talk about that at all.
Yeah. Whatever happened to her? I wanted that bitch to die so fucking bad.
She does.
In the manga?
Yeah, she does.
Okay, because in the anime, like I said, I finished the rest of it today. I think we just lose track of her. I don't even know the last episode we see her, but you don't ever see her again, and you don't get that, sweet vengeance of her dying for taking people's, eyeball, Senji's eyeball, or people's hands, or whatever they land on.
The punishment game that all the Deadmen love watching.
Yeah.
Well, we only saw that happened twice between Senji and Minatsuki, and we saw the worst of what we thought was the worst was Senji's eye coming out, and then Minatsuki got her hair cut.
Yes.
Was that was her deal?
Which was a part of
Nagi's
Rebellion,
deal.
So in the manga, it was actually to show faith to Ganta that they are trying to.
Actually, they bring that up. They bring that up in the anime.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that being said, if Nagi has pull in that kind of deal, then.
No, actually, I'm gonna cut you off right there. He didn't really have that much pull. He had that one kid that betrayed him.
Oh, Rokuro.
Yeah, he had him kind of hack into the system, whatever. But obviously, he's a traitor, so he just did it to show Ganta.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, that's right. Because he was working with the
Undertakers.
The Undertakers. Okay, so I guess he didn't have as much pull as us viewers in the beginning thought he had.
And if I can just jump in here again, I actually forgot to mention. We all forgot to mention one thing that I thought was really weird. Speaking about that doctor, you see that Senji, when he first encounters Shiro, he kind of freaks out about her clothing. Like he's really old school.
Yeah,
and kind of goes away.
Japanese wise, please cover yourself, and he wants nothing to do with any kind of sexuality.
You see that Senji and Shiro when they first meet, and then you see that little scene where Senji's with the doctor. You kind of see that scene too, and after that, you don't really see it at all. I thought it was gonna be like a topic like part of his personality, obviously. So that's gonna get brought up every once in a while, but you see it twice and it's kind of done.
Yeah, I think that's just a reflection of Japanese culture.
You do see it again in the manga with Manasuki, and because there's a scene that she's more revealing, and he does the same thing. But after that, that's the end of it.
But in the OVA, you don't see it at all. Like I said,
there's nothing sexual in the OVA.
Exactly, but if it was part of his trait or personality, I would have expected to see it a little bit in his little episode, 35-minute episode.
Right, wasn't much going on there.
And then Lance, you were talking about how there's some clarification for the branch of sin.
Oh yeah. So I tried to dive in, try to get a real clear view on the idea of branch of sin. And what I have come to understand is branch of sin is the idea of there's one specific source, which is the sin, which is Shiro. And everybody gets their powers from Shiro, hence the branching. So everybody has their branch of sin. And, not to kick a dead horse, but that's where everything comes from.
That's never heard of that or thought of it that way, but that's a good point. How it kind of shows that everything comes from Shiro.
All right. Well, overall, Lance, I know I already asked Matt, but what do you think about the anime? What would you rate it from a scale of 0 to 10?
0 to 10? The anime itself was very intriguing. I'd give it about an 8. I would definitely recommend this to anybody who loves any kind of action, who likes their superpower kind of stuff. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I would definitely say it was a 7. It was good. It was nice and gory. Had some funny comedic parts to it. And I definitely recommend it to anybody that wants something like that. But I also give it a preface where it's like, hey, don't expect anything else because that's it. What about you, Ricky?
I agree with you on a 7. It was good. It definitely kept me wanting more. Now that I know about the manga, I really don't like that it, strayed away that much. But I say it's a 7 because it gets you invested in the characters and the storyline's pretty decent. Actually pretty good. It's kind of relatable. If something like that to happen to you, and get framed for murdering people. But no, I liked it. I really got invested into it, and I was kind of sad that there wasn't anything else coming. I'm actually kind of intrigued to reading the mangas myself on this one for some reason, it just kind of hit me a little bit harder. But I'd rate this a 7, and I'm looking forward to reading the mangas and seeing how it really ends for myself.
I mean, I agree. There's just, with you talking about how much more the manga has to offer, it just blows my mind that they don't have anything else to offer anime-wise.
So, Lance, what is our lesson for the week?
Our Lance's lesson for the week is going to be the Japanese word for blood, which seems fitting because everybody's attack had something to do with some kind of blood attack. And Japanese word for blood is ketsuiki. So that was our episode 2 for Deadman Wonderland. And to end our episode, I would like to go off into a little bit of a tangent in reflection to our episode 0, which I hope you, as our listeners, have heard, about how I claimed to be such a Dragon Ball Z fan, yet never having to watch Dragon Ball Z. Just for a little bit of defense, mine was that I played all of the Dragon Ball Z games, so of course I knew all the storyline. Anyway, last night I started the Dragon Ball Z anime.
Oh, man.
And oh man is correct. Holy crap. I watched 2.5 episodes and we saw Goku become just a little bit of an older person, which is really funny because, just to be clear, I've seen all of GT, which I know is not canon, and I've seen all of Super, but to go, I know there's a big age difference between Super and very OG Dragon Ball Z, and it's really funny to see how young Goku is back then. Okay, so I was talking about how one of my anime confessions was never watching Dragon Ball Z. So I started it, and episode 1 is a fucking disaster. Oh my god, I was watching with my fiance last night, and I was so embarrassed watching it with her. Gohan is sitting there crying the entire episode, which just pounds in the fact that Goku is a horrible father. Episode 1. Goku leaves Gohan in the middle of a forest. He doesn't even know where. Gohan gets attacked by a saber-toothed tiger who takes his hat with the 4-star Dragon Ball on it. And later, Goku's like, oh, I need to go to Kami's house. I'm going to go bring my son. So suddenly he decides to go grab his son. And he can't find him. And he's going through these rapids. And, oh my god, it's just... Oh, the animation in the late 80s and late 90s is so crazy how far it's become in today's world of anime.
So I remember you bringing up that you haven't watched Dragon Ball Z, or your confession was that you haven't watched the whole thing.
Correct.
I thought you at least watched a couple.
Oh, definitely. I've seen plenty of episodes between, like, the Cell Saga.
Oh, so you just haven't seen the beginning then?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the very beginning.
Yeah. No, yep. And that's what we were talking about. You know, Piccolo's the shit.
Yeah.
Ultimate stepdad.
The ultimate stepdad, yeah. I mean, we know, at least I know he becomes the ultimate stepdad because when Gohan becomes Teen Gohan, that's when shit starts to get real. But, you know, in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, all he's doing is crying, and everyone's still shitting their pants when Piccolo shows his face. And, like, what, episode 2 or 3 is when they decide to call a truce and have Goku and Piccolo join forces so they can fight Raditz because Raditz is too strong for them. It's just funny to see all this come together with 1990s animation, and it's just crazy.
Still the GOAT, though. Dragon Ball Z, anything Dragon Ball, it's never gonna die.
No, it never will. It's just the transformations, the power-ups, the attacks. That's what gets the viewers, man. That's what got me as a viewer. It took a long time for me to get into it because obviously it took Dragon Ball Z a long time to get there, but mainly the video games.
But this is why we're doing this, you know. I haven't seen all the animes. Obviously, Deadman Wonderland was 10 years old. I just watched it this week. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm happy you started watching it. I'm a little sad that you watched it with your fiance, and it's embarrassing. But
don't get me wrong. It's not like I was watching it with my fiance. We were laying in bed. She was sleeping. I was watching it while she was sleeping. I'm pretty sure she was trying very hard to go to sleep.
I mean, in your fiance's defense, my wife gave up at the Frieza saga.
Oh, that's a long time.
And she made it a while.
Yeah.
But she was, nope, done. not going any further.
Oh, and to put it in perspective, that's where things start to truly kick off.
Well, in her defense, when it takes 8 episodes for 5 minutes to elapse, it's kind of ridiculous.
True. Yeah, I need to look into how to speed up this series to at least 2 times the speed, because I'm not going to be missing out on anything if I can be watching
Dragon Ball Z Kai. That's going to be your best bet.
That's what I would hope, but I watch on Funimation, and Funimation doesn't have the specific Kai version.
That's true. I think you have to buy the Kai version or watch it on Cartoon Network. I think those are your only 2 options.
I know Cartoon Network did have it. I was going through Funimation. Funimation did have literally everything. They had Dragon Ball Z, GT, Super. Crap, am I missing anything?
No, I think
it's not Kai. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even though GT isn't considered canon, it's still on there. I love GT. I think the design for Super Saiyan 4 is amazing. I don't think they should call it Super. Oh, I mean, we can have a whole freaking Dragon Ball episode. We can save that for then.
Yeah.
And we definitely will. We'll definitely have a couple Dragon Ball episodes. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Make you guys watch Dragon Ball.
Oh, God.
Oh, actually, speaking of Dragon Ball, Danny, my middle son's watching it, and I think he's watching it subbed. So
yeah?
I'm a little proud of that. Yeah, he's watching it subbed. I walked into his room a couple days ago, and yeah, he's watching it subbed. I'm not a big fan of sub, but I actually brought up SD Gundam Heroes that just came out not today, but this year, 2021, and that's on sub. So I'm giving it a shot. I kind of want to catch up on some stuff, but yeah, little proud dad moment.
Sure, why not?
Thanks, Lance, for going on your little tangent and finally starting Dragon Ball Z. Long overdue, but we're getting there. And that was episode 2, talking about Deadman Wonderland. Next time we are going to be talking about that time I got reincarnated into slime. Please rate, review, share, and comment so you can help build our community.